What's up, guys? Welcome to TFGoose Gaming. I'm TFGoose here with Vendetta, and we are bringing you some DLC from SimCity. It's been a little bit,
It
right?
has been a little bit. Kind of
Yeah.
taking a little hiatus there.
Yeah, that's all right. That's all right. We got to do that every once in a while. But we wanted to show you guys some stuff with the airships and using the amusement park DLC, right? So,
Yeah, both the amusement park DLC and the airship DLC kind of showcase those here today.
cool deal, cool deal. So what we did here is kind of our standard fare if you've seen a lot of our other, SimCity videos, especially the Let's Plays, where basically one of us dedicated ourselves, in this case that would be me, to bringing up a feeder city, of course, or of sorts. Not of course. Of course of sorts. Of sorts, of course. A feeder city to provide power and water, and, various service vehicles and such, and, just to kind of augment things and make it so, the main city that is our project for the video doesn't have to bother with really producing those things. They can just buy it. So you can see Battery, which is the feeder city over there. And in the region view, when we look at that, and that's what's providing most of the services here. But it looks like you've already got the amusement park going here, man. This is Vendetta City.
Yeah, I got the amusement park city going here just with the basic rides and some concession stands. That's kind of your bread and butter. So you need your rides, to get visitors in there, but your concession stands also make you an absolute crap ton of money. So you want to be mindful when you're placing those. You kind of want to spread them out along all of your rides, as we'll get into a little bit later. But right here, this is just the basic one. And the idea is that you have to get so many visitors in here to hit a cash threshold. I believe it's $10,000 here for the first one. And then it kind of goes up from there. So you have a couple stages of the amusement park.
Gotcha. Okay. So, I mean, and, that's funny you mentioned the concessions and stuff too, because that's what I've always thought as being the absolute bread and butter of any amusement park.
Oh,
You know,
absolutely.
that's where they get the cash, It's just like going to the movie theater, I mean, that's where they make all their money on the site, so it's pretty crazy. So, but yeah, I mean, so this is kind of like the initial module then, when you put this down and before you haven't gotten into any of the big crazier rides or anything, right?
Yeah, exactly. Because you need some cash before you can unlock like the big roller coaster and the Ferris wheel.
So it's in that way, it's kind of like any of the other real kind of specializations that you're going to run because, in any of the other ones, you have to hit a certain income threshold or sell a certain number of things, produce a certain number of things in order to get that next, HQ built or the,
Yeah, the next
the
tier.
the different facilities that unlock various things, so you can move on into that certain specialization and build the higher tier stuff. So it's the same deal here, apparently.
Yeah, exactly. And as you upgrade in tiers, you're able to add more attractions. And when you add more attractions, that increases your capacity. I also should point out that the amusement park functions much more similar to trade in the respect that it doesn't add to your hourly income. You get instead a lump sum at the end of the day. Your park is open from 10 a.m. to 12 a.m. And once it closes for the day, you get all the money. So.
So it kind of shows up in your transaction sheet, basically, just like, I see you have some oil in this city as well, so you're going to be selling oil, and that'll show up there, and then
Yeah.
this will show up there as well.
So there I hit my first upgrade. I'm going to go ahead and add some rides.
Perfect. And you know what? It's kind of crazy, too, because the fireworks are actually quite fitting, for the upgrades at the amusement park. So what are we going with here first, then?
I think I build a roller coaster. Because that one is like I don't know what's going on with this road here, but it doesn't want to, it didn't want to lay straight.
Yeah, that's all right. That happens occasionally. We've had our difficulties with roads and stuff before, so no big
Yeah,
deal.
I just thought the roller coaster looks really cool and it generates a lot of money. So, because it can add more people than like your smaller rides. But then you can see me right there. I'm plopping those concession stands, making that bank. That's going to be key because when you have people on their way, they'll stop and buy stuff, like a real amusement park, and that's how you
Sure.
make some money. I'm adding
Now,
some benches right here so that they can rest because I guess that's important.
yeah, you would think so. I mean, in a way, this kind of reminds me, and I'm sure this is kind of what they were going for just on a much smaller scale. But did you ever play Roller Coaster Tycoon or any of
Yeah.
those? Yeah, so very much the same thing there. I mean, but that obviously there's much, much, much more, robust tools at your disposal and lots more rides, but in a way it's the same thing though. I mean, you just choose where you want to put the rides and then you plop down a bunch of concessions and you even have to place benches and stuff there as well so that people can rest. But that one's a lot more fleshed out because the entire simulation is devoted
Yeah.
to the amusement park. But still, it looks like they're picking up some of those same elements here and trying to bring some of that in, and make it so you get a lot of choices. You get a lot of options on how you want to design. I mean, you can use that service road there, and draw your park in kind of the way that you want
Yeah.
and end up with a pretty good chunk of your city, I imagine, dedicated to the park. So
Yeah, that whole region or that whole section right there with the empty space, I'll fill up with amusement park stuff.
right, right. So it's
It
going to be
takes up
pretty solid.
yeah, it takes up quite a bit of space, but I found it to be a rather excuse me, a rather refreshing uh, venture into the culture specialization than some of the landmarks. I thought that this was a lot more fun than just your traditional landmarks. So
Well, yeah, because I mean, the landmark buildings, they're nice and everything, and they can have some character, but it's just sort of like once it's there, it's just there. It's a building. That's it.
right.
Nothing's going on, and you can just sort of place one thing, and then that's it. There's not like modules for, you can't place a building and then place a lot of other stuff that's related to that building, as you can here when you place the initial park and then start plopping down different rides, and you can make a lot of selections based on how you want the park, to look and what sort of a park you want it to be. Because, correct me if I'm wrong here too, just because, I haven't messed with it as much as you, but you have various different kinds of rides here. I mean, you don't have to place the roller coaster. I mean, you could go with a much more leisurely park.
Absolutely. I mean, it's all about, customization and it's what you want to do. I like the big roller coaster, so I put one down, but you don't have to by any means.
Right, exactly. Now, I did just want to ask too, just because it's been a good month or 6 weeks even since we looked at some of the trade stuff and everything. How's oil selling these days?
Price of oil is up to about 8K a barrel. I think that's down. Last time I remember, I think it was at 9,000 a barrel. So prices are fluctuating.
That's okay. Yeah, but you were just using that as kind of a supplementary income here, I know.
Yeah, to get me started, this city is I have all the basic services, police, fire, medical, and you're providing power, water, sewage, and that's a really big help because with these amusement parks, you don't necessarily have a lot of room, especially because this thing takes up so much space.
Right, right. It's a premium, your space, especially, with the controversial map size and such, of the game, which they are, talking about increasing, which would be really, really nice.
Yeah.
But so that's the deal there. That's what's really nice. But I think that maybe, I think in the future that it would be nicer to be able to dedicate a larger portion of the map than even you can at the moment. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just because it's like, I mean, you got this little corner over here, and it's nice. I mean, it's cool, but I would think it'd be so much cooler if you could even take like a whole, like 1/4 of the map and turn it into the amusement park if there's enough stuff there that's able to service that. You know what I mean? I don't know if there's enough rides really to fill that kind of space.
Yeah, I would like to see a little bit more of variety of rides, but I mean, I think they did a good job initially. What you can do is actually add two more entrances into the amusement park and kind of build out some more rides onto there. So like you'll see me do that a little bit later in the video. I actually add a second entrance and some more rides over on a different section of the map.
Okay. All right. That's cool. All right. So we'll get a peek at that then too. But yeah, I was just kind of curious on, the trade and, the amount of spaces taken up just because there's so much like balance as we've talked about many times as far as, where you want to place various things and, and utilizing that finite space to the best of your ability is sometimes a challenge.
Absolutely.
But in this, I mean, it's looking like you got a nice little park started here and stuff. About how much money does this thing end up really pulling down? Would you say?
$100,000 a day.
Okay, yeah, that'll do.
Yeah, it makes a lot of money. I mean, it's worth the investment.
Okay, yeah, because I mean, to me that seems about the same as what you would pull down from like a, putting up one of the big tourist attractions like the Expo Center, or something like that, or you'd run like a big event.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can pull down that 100K, and that's always nice. But I'd be hoping, at least in the long run, and we'll have to, kind of play it out more and see if this is the case. But I know there was some issues with sometimes those events kind of all of a sudden failing to draw people in,
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if the amusement park eventually slows down on its number of visitors or not. That's kind of a, concern of mine, I guess.
Yeah.
But I mean, I can, I'm sure you didn't really notice anything during the filming of this. We got about a half hour of footage here. I'm hoping it kind of it held itself together
Oh yeah.
during that time. So
Yeah, it's rocking and it was doing well. I always like to place, when I do culture, I like to place it by a train station because for whatever reason, the game loves to use the trains and you always get a lot of foot traffic from train stations. And that's why you can see me, I place that to the north there and in hopes to draw more people. And it's working well. I mean, look, the park's maxed out right now. I'm hopefully going to hit my next goal for money so I can upgrade it again.
now, as you keep putting the upgrades in, does the number of tourists that it can hold per day increase as well?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, because I mean that would be hopeful. I'd hope it would be like that, because otherwise it could get very, very hard to continue moving. So, you know, yeah, we'll see how much it goes up to here, and you can go ahead and get your next ride going. So, what do you think? You're going to be looking at the Ferris wheel then, or
Yeah, I'm
God,
looking at
there's tons of stuff. There really is a lot of stuff.
Yeah, there's lots of rides. And you got to pepper in those concession stands too. Yeah, I'm gonna add a Ferris wheel and I'm gonna add a go-kart track because those are both awesome.
I want to go on the go-kart track. Seriously. Oh, that's cool. All right, so starting to flesh things out then pretty well on there, and yeah, there does appear to be a lot more options even than I was really expecting when they first announced this DLC. So that's a good thing. I mean, what about the airships over there? I keep seeing the ships kind of fly in and drop people off. I unfortunately didn't have the airships in my city over there, so that's probably limiting some of the tourism there because there's only so much that those things can do.
Yeah, the airship DLC is interesting because finally we have a transportation method that high wealth will use. The airships primarily is for high wealth. They will use the airships to commute around, which is nice because that helps alleviate traffic associated with them. I didn't really bother with high wealth in this city, but they also have a module for your medium class people, and that's what you can see over there in the right next to my condos is I placed like the little commuter hub for the medium wealth citizens.
I gotcha. Okay. So that's actually a really nice thing because if you ask me, they kind of needed another medium for doing mass transit of high wealth folks because frankly, the cruise ships are worthless. I
Yeah,
mean,
ferry terminal is garbage. That thing just doesn't work.
yeah, I don't know. I mean, if anybody, seriously, guys, if you're watching this and you've had a ferry terminal that's actually bringing in like thousands of people a day, I would love to know your setup and how that works because every time we build the things, it gets extremely light amounts of traffic. I mean, I really don't even know why we build them. And then the airports seem to be just sort of a roll of the dice, you
Yeah.
know? Sometimes they get a lot of traffic. Sometimes they have like a 4,000 minute wait,
Yeah.
and other times they get nobody using the thing at all. So it's really, really strange, and I'm not quite certain how to best utilize that, But the thing is, it takes up so much space. So to even try to use airports, you have to dedicate a huge chunk of land, especially if you want to upgrade it out with all the various runways and such.
Yeah.
And then the thing might not even work, Whereas the airship area here, it looks like to be just maybe about twice the size of, say, a bus terminal or something like that, and you're not using up those huge chunks of, horizontal land space for the runways. So I'm hoping maybe that's a more viable, method.
Yeah.
And even if it doesn't work in your city, at least you're not dedicating this massive amount of land space to a transit system that doesn't work.
And I should point out as well, the ideal location for your airship hangar is going to be in your high wealth neighborhood. I didn't have one of those because I wasn't focusing on high wealth, so I just plopped it on my main drag there.
Yeah, and that's fine. I mean, it works, but and especially if you're going to put in the medium, module as well, then you might as well do that,
Yeah.
But and it really doesn't matter. But yeah, obviously, if you guys want to use the airships and really get the most out of them, then you want to have a high wealth neighborhood at the very least, if not just a high wealth city that you're really shooting for, and plop those suckers down there. Maybe that's the reason that we haven't had like huge amounts of success with our ships and our airports is we've never gone like super duper high wealth in any of our playthroughs.
True.
Generally speaking, we kind of like to run the slums, you know?
Yeah.
So just pack the people in, and get lots and lots of 12% tax revenue and, get them working in industry and such. So that's generally what ends up happening. Or if, when we did the gambling city and the tourism city, just it doesn't really matter if they're really high wealth. They're going to come anyway,
Yeah, exactly.
So the low and medium wealth tourists are fine for cities like that. So, but hey, if you get a ton of high wealth rocking, then that would be a lot of income as well. But to me, it just seems like it's harder to maintain.
Yeah.
And
Well, and the reason that I kind of personally shied away from high wealth, in the past is because you had the trains, the buses, and the streetcars, but high wealth wouldn't use any of those. And it's like, well, what's the point of having high wealth?
yeah,
It's like it's just going to congest all your streets and cause you a lot of headaches with traffic and essentially break your city, really. So
right.
I never bothered with it.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Yeah, I mean, I would rather have citizens that make use of pretty much any mass transit option, to get people off the streets. And if you pack them in there tight enough, then you still get plenty of tax revenue out of them.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still the Department of Finance is still the first thing that I build, every time, just so I can pop that tax revenue for the low and medium guys and bring high up to 10. Which yeah, I've seen some comments too in some of the past videos, you guys commenting on the fact that the low income people are the ones that tolerate the largest amount of tax burden. And some overseas folks even are asking like, how is this in America? Is this really how it is? And the answer is no. Uh, the tax liability of lower income is not as high as the high wealth. Here, I have no idea why they flipped it in the game. I'm really not certain, but that's the way it is. You can charge more taxes for the low wealth than medium, and more to the medium than the high, without people getting upset. And whatever. I don't know. I don't make the decisions. I just, I read the guide and it said, hey, you can do this, and I'm like, awesome. I can make a lot more money if I just set the taxes this way.
Yeah, 9% is like so small. That extra, 3% is huge for your hourly income.
Yeah, that's massive. Oh, wow. You could totally, you've got the hazmat fire there going, right?
Yeah, this still drives me nuts. I really wish that they would have some kind of hazmat garage on the first tier fire station because, man, that second tier fire station is just so expensive.
Well, and also, I mean, to even get the hazmat garage, don't you have to, there's a university project that's involved in that, right? Yeah. So, I mean, to stop these fires from happening, you have to build a university, build the school, that is capable of researching that project, then do the project, then build the large fire station and put the hazmat garages in. I mean, that's a huge investment, and quite frankly, I'd rather just let the industry building burn to the ground and have it rebuild.
Yeah.
Plus it makes a really satisfying boom when it explodes, So I've never really found the usefulness of doing that. Yeah, it can catch some other buildings on fire in the area, but it's so short term of a, mini disaster of sorts, that who cares? I just let the thing burn, and, if any devs are happen to be watching for any reason here, then yeah, take that as a little hint that that's why no one builds hazmat garages. They're way too crazy to build them, and they offer very little benefit when the building can just blow up and no one cares. Just my little observation there. But anyway, back to the amusement park as we're adding more stuff.
Yeah, so I'm really kind of fleshing out this section of the park right now, adding some more concessions, making sure kind of sustain my optimum profitability. and adding more rides, because more rides means more people, and
More people means more money.
exactly.
Yeah. And I see, like, I'm just noticing too, your RCI is pimp too. I mean, you're rocking about 18K or
Yeah.
so, roughly, a little less.
Yeah,
So,
RCI is fantastic right now.
So, I mean, that's really nice. I mean, so you have a really, you got a reasonably happy city there, it appears to be, and, you got a bunch of, flush money left over, and you got 18,000 coming in per hour. And that's, again, not counting, the amusement park income.
Or my oil.
Or, yeah, exactly, or the oil. So, I mean, a very, very stable city, in the battery city across the way there, which we're using to feed this. I got mine up. I think my RCI was around, I don't know, about 14 or 15K or something like that. But then again, I was paying to keep the service buildings up.
Yeah.
But, so you able to keep this rocking, especially considering all of the costs of running these amusement parks, which I assume are considerable.
Yeah, it's actually not too bad, though, to be honest. The amusement park is cheaper to run than I actually would thought it had been.
I mean, is it comparable, would you say, to casinos? Or, because I know some of the casinos get absolutely ridiculous. Like the sleek and the elegant casinos are unbelievably expensive to run per hour.
Yeah, I think this is actually better than a casino personally. I think it's more stable. It's going to add, you're going to get more reliable income from this than a casino.
And not to mention, you don't have the crime problem.
Right.
And of course, you're using a lot more real estate, again, in the land area, and that's probably the offset. The stability of the income and the fact that you're not producing criminals like, it's freaking, breeding season for them or something, is a good thing, but the casino offers a much more compact, land sensitive way to earn a lot of profit, but then you have to deal with the fluctuations in profit and the fact that some people might just not come that day, or and of course all the crazy criminals running around too. So it's sort of an offset. I guess you just have to decide, if this is the type of city that you want to run with the amusement parks, then you really have to dedicate the land area to it, and probably not try to run, much in the way of other specializations. I mean, you got one little oil, pumping area over there, and are able to export that, but you couldn't really delve into a lot of production, like trying to navigate the upper tiers of the trading specialization, getting into plastics and stuff like that, when you're trying to do this. I think it would just take up too much land area.
Yeah, I don't have enough raw resources anyway. This map has very little oil. It only had like 2 spots, and I actually built my fire station on top of the other spot. See right there, you can you can look and see that there's my, daily income from the amusement park.
Okay. So yeah, I was around 35K. I mean, that's not bad.
Yeah, for that day. It's going to go up here. I think I'll look at it again once I just finally upgraded, the last tier of it. So I also added that other entrance. That's going to help you too, depending on your city layout. Like you can see, I have a lot of citizens over there, and that would actually be a much shorter drive for them than the one over on the right-hand side. But the idea is that the guys on the left can drive to the second gate while the people from the train and everybody else can drive to the main kind of tier, and that way I can maximize my profits.
Gotcha. That works. Yeah, that's a good idea. I mean, spreading it out there. I mean, obviously this game centers very, very much around traffic flow, as we've discussed, in previous videos. You need people to be able to get around. You need your service vehicles able to move. You need your trade vehicles able to move. And when you're relying on tourism like this, your tourists have to be able to get to your attractions. So offering them some other routes to be able to get to where they need to go is a good thing. So is it garbage time?
Yeah, your trucks weren't cutting it for me anymore, and I looked and I saw like, oh my goodness, I only have 700 cans of garbage being collected. Like, I need to solve that problem.
Yeah, people tend to get upset, when you don't pick up their trash for some reason.
Well, it adds more problems to the fire. I kept getting complaints like, oh, the fire everywhere.
Yes, this is true. Yes, if you keep the garbage too much in the city, then yeah, it will increase your fires. And I've wondered, that actually, I have a thought on that. I wonder if your amusement park or anything can actually catch fire.
No.
I wouldn't think so. I don't think any of your main, like, really specialization buildings actually can
Any
catch
of the
fire.
place buildings cannot catch fire, like your police, your medical, your hospitals, your universities, your city hall, those cannot catch fire.
But it would be really cool, if it could, honestly. I'd be kind of interested if
I,
that would
I
happen.
disagree. That would actually tick me off. Because those are expensive to rebuild.
True, this is true. But I mean, if it was just like a small chance, or if it would have to be like a neighboring building next door to it caught fire.
Yeah.
If you didn't extinguish it quick enough, then there would be a chance or something.
Well, you can always get hit by Godzilla.
This is true. Sometimes Godzilla runs through and destroys like 450 grand worth of oil pipelines.
Yeah.
Or something.
That happened.
Right. Yes, it did. Yeah, that was fun. We enjoy that. Or the meteor strike. I don't see enough meteor strikes, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, I know they tuned the disasters. I haven't seen a whole lot of disasters though since they've tuned those.
Yeah, it seems like it's a much rarer occurrence. I mean, and you can unleash them on your own city if you want, if you're a sadist and you want to, cause problems for people and yourself. But, sometimes it can be fun, especially if you're kind of like reached a point with a city where you're like, all right, I'm kind of done with this one.
I wish, I do wish if I had like one disaster that they don't have in the game, I wish there was like an atom bomb where it would just like level the entire city at once. I think that would be awesome. Like a big mushroom cloud, like.
You want like someone walking in like a suitcase bomb or something like that. Good Lord.
That would be sweet. I'm just saying.
No, or you could just drop it, just here, Operation Clean Sweep,
Yeah, so you can look there and see that my tourists are almost maxed out. Amusement park is running very well. The city is running well, aside from fire here. I'm not really having too many problems. I have some traffic issues, but at this population, that's kind of to be expected. I think here, this city is still really successful with the RCI, at 12.5 grand an hour. I would D-zone personally. Like if you wanted to have a successful amusement park city, I would say stop right here.
Yeah, you're at about 100K population, and I mean, as we've determined, in some of the other videos, now you've brought populations up over 200,000 and stuff before.
Yeah.
And still had, with a proper design of like streetcars and stuff like that, still had reasonable traffic flow, and your city was very profitable, especially with trade.
Yeah.
In there as well. But if you want to really keep things humming along really, really nice in basically any city, going too much further over 100,000, it seems like that's kind of a threshold where things can really start to get kind of nutty,
Yeah.
Like I'm not sure if just, the engine has wasn't designed with that many people in mind. Now, and granted though, I mean, that figure is inflated. There's not actually that many people running around in cars and stuff in the city.
Right.
Because it doesn't do that, and they have that beautiful fudged population formula in there that makes it so that number appears a little larger than it actually is. But still, whatever that conversion rate is, when you see about 100,000, however many are actually in the city, that seems to be the actual kind of a threshold where you start seeing a lot of red lines and such, and you really need to be breaking into mass transit a lot more to keep people happy and keep things running. But still, me, I wimp out around half that,
Yeah.
I'm a much bigger fan of like a 50K population city, but still, you did build a really nice functional amusement park city, and definitely, guys, I mean, check this out. I mean, it's something different. It's a different play style. It uses up a ton of real estate, as you can see, but it can bring in a good amount of profit. This is only, maybe an hour or so into gameplay.
Yeah.
Hour and a half tops from breaking ground to seeing it as you are now. And, you got over $1.5 million and just humming right along. So anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed that little brief look at amusement parks and a little bit on the airships. If have any questions or anything or comments, leave them below. Otherwise, be on the lookout soon, guys. We got a lot more videos coming for you, and we'll talk to you soon.